Human trafficking is not well understood, but it affects millions around the globe, including in our own backyards. Our next guest is a survivor of that same phenomenon. Rosine Hounakey joins us to share her personal story that no child should have to experience, that every parent would fear, but that every viewer need be aware of. Rosine, thank you for coming and sharing your story with us.
Thank you. Thank you for welcoming me.
You bet.
Thank you.
So you are from the West African nation of Togo.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your family back in those days when you were a child, your family makeup and who you were.
Okay. Well, I have a mother. I have a father. I had a father and a brother, one sister, and I'm a middle child. It was just 3 of us with our parents, so 5 people in our family.
Okay.
And I grew up on just a little city called Lomé. That's the capital city of Togo. And I lived there until I was 13 before I moved to the U.S. through human trafficking.
Yeah, and this was particularly insidious because this was actually your aunt who did this. How did she approach your mother and talk about that a little bit?
Well, she came to sell the American dream. You know, going to America, making the money, and not having to work a lot, and just making money. And maybe just for girls, because most of the girls back then didn't go to school, or if a family didn't have enough money, they rather send their sons than to send their daughters.
Because it costs money to send your kids to school.
Yeah. Yes, school is not free, high school is not free, no school is free. So they thought, okay, if she's gonna sell this American dream, where my kids will actually go to school and advance in doing something different in life, why not? And plus, she's family. She had a son for my dad's older brother. So it's not just someone random that we knew. She came and sold the dream perfectly, and it sounded like, here is where my daughter needs to go. That's how my mom let go of me. Said, okay, you can go.
And talk about how you got your visa.
Well, she had a scheme. When you win the lottery visa, it is something that you play every year. It comes there, you play. If you win the American lottery visa, then you get to pay for your own tickets, you pay for your own doctor appointments and everything, and also come to the U.S. But if you don't have the money, she cares to sell you another dream, which is if you can marry one of my girls in the house, she will tell the guys, because usually guys will play those lottery. If you marry one of these girls, just like a fake marriage, then if you come to the U.S., you go to your way, she goes her way, but I will pay for everything, all the arrangement, everything that you need to come to the U.S. So most people did it.
So you actually posed as this much older man's wife.
Yes.
Went to the embassy saying,
I'm
married.
the wife.
And you were 13 years old?
Yes, I was 13. Yes, so they put me in different clothes to make me look older. Did my hair differently. I had to learn the interview, like it's a paper that I had to learn some things about the guy. He has to learn some things about you because, first of all, I'm coming with somebody else's name.
You're supposed to be married.
I'm supposed to be married. I had to come with a name called Sophie. And my age in that document was 19 when I was 13. So I had to act like a grown-up person to be able to fit in that. Yeah. And yeah, so we went to the embassy and got the visa.
And so then you and your husband flew to the U.S.
He went before me. He actually left and went to, I think he went to different states. But when maybe a month later, then she put me on the airplane for the first time. Never spoke English, said you're going to California. I was 13. I only spoke French and airway. I got on the plane. I landed in California by myself in a country that I've never been.
Okay.
Yes.
And who picked you up?
My cousin, the son that she had for my uncle. He picked me up and put me in a hair salon. And I was doing hair for a long, long, long time. Long hours, ridiculous hours.
How many days a week? How many hours a day?
If he wants me to work 7 hours, 7 days a week, I'm working 7 days a week. And sometimes we go maybe around 8 in the morning. We don't get home until 2 in the morning. And then you get ready and go back the next day.
And what are they paying you?
Nothing. They take all the money. They make sure that you don't even keep your tips.
So do the salon owners know this arrangement, or do they think you're getting paid?
Well, they pay me. Technically, they can't ask me what I do with my money, right? And then at the same time, I don't think that they didn't know. I'm sure they knew, but they made it as it wasn't their business.
Okay.
So, but I'm sure they knew.
Sure.
Yes.
And who are you living with?
Well, I was living with my cousin at that time, with other girls in the same house,
And these girls were in the same
they
situation.
also, some of them came before me, some of them came after me. So in total, I think 22 girls. By the time I came and left, it was 22 girls so far.
So all roughly teenage?
Yes. The oldest that time was probably 23.
Okay.
But the youngest was probably 2 years younger than me at that time.
So your aunt was taking all of the wages from all these 22 young women and girls.
Yes. But when I was living there with her until 2005, I think we had at least about 9 people in that house. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So eventually you made it all the way across the country to New Jersey. How did that happen?
Well, when we went to California, the rent was too expensive, and me and the other girl that was pretending to be my cousin's wife, we were not making enough money to pay for everything.
Okay.
Well, he wants to live, a nice life, so we were not making enough money. So he moved us to New Jersey. That's how I ended up living in a house with the other girls that were there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how were you treated?
Really bad, because first of all, it's like you eating the same food. There was not enough nutrition in what you eat. You eat like rice maybe one time a day. One time a day you only ate one meal, and you work hours and hours. You don't get enough sleep, and that's not good for a child.
Yeah.
As a 13-year-old.
13 years old?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
7 days a week?
7 days a week.
Yeah.
No holidays off.
And could you call your parents?
No, I couldn't call my parents because, first of all, I didn't know their phone number. And many people didn't use cell phone that time in 2003 when I left. So my mom didn't have any cell phone.
So your mom is just trusting that her daughter, her precious daughter, is okay.
It's okay, yes.
And
So
the story from the aunt is, oh, she's
doing fine. She's in school right now. She's working. That's why she can't hear from me. But she'll call you. It's like year after year. That's what she's been telling everyone. But then I had enough courage to send someone where basically I talked to one of the boss that I was working with. I finally told her what was going on. And she said, I knew someone that goes to Togo. The lady was actually from Niger, not Nigeria, but Niger. And she sent someone over there to go look for my mom. But unfortunately, when the person went to look for Mrs. Hounakey, and there are a lot of Mrs. Hounakey.
Because your dad had several wives.
No, because my uncle's wife also goes about Hounakey.
Okay.
And that uncle is the one that gave birth to the cousin I'm talking about.
Okay.
His new wife goes by Mrs. Hounakey. So she went and told the family that I sent someone to look for my mom.
Oh my.
So my
you were in
aunt
trouble.
heard it, yes. And then they asked me and I had to deny it. But still, I had enough courage to send somebody back again until they find my mom. And then I called her and told her everything that was going on. And she was surprised. She was heartbroken. She couldn't believe everything they were just telling her.
How could you imagine
Yes.
your child is thousands of miles away in a
Yes.
country that you don't know? You're trusting that the caretaker is taking good care of your child, and it's absolutely not the case.
Yes, and she couldn't do anything because she said, okay, if I say something, they'll probably deport her back and they will mess up her name. But then at the same time, she's trying to find a way to help me escape, but to live in this country where, what am I going to live at that age? I didn't know anybody. I only knew from the house to the shop. I don't go anywhere. They go out to buy everything, including food, and I don't go shopping. How am I supposed to live in the U.S.?
So you were really like in prison.
Yes, yes, with the rest of the girls, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they were physically not kind to you.
They're not. And one day I was actually sick, and I asked my cousin, which is my aunt's son. I call him cousin because he is my cousin. I asked him to get me medicine. He didn't. He said he was gonna get it. He didn't get the medicine. He left me at the shop all day working, and I was really, really sick. And I came home that night, and he said, okay, join the rest of the girls in the kitchen to cook something special for me. I'm like, we got about 3 or 4 people in this kitchen. You don't need me in there.
You don't need, especially a sick person.
You don't need me
helping
there.
prepare
and
the food.
plus, he already turned the rest of the girls against me because I was telling them how we are living an unjust life because there was too much injustice going on. I was talking too much. I was the bad eye. I was the bad apple. So he already turned everybody against me where they don't talk to me. They looked at me as like the witch, literally. I won't talk to anybody without offending
this
them.
is because you had the courage to
I had the
speak up,
courage and
to protest,
they didn't want to. They didn't. The girls were not used to that.
and they were terrified.
Yes. So he came in there and got like something that looks, I don't know what it was, but I think it's the same thing you use on horses.
Oh, like a whip or a riding crop.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
he hit me so bad that I had like a lot of scratches on me. So I said, okay, this guy's not gonna get my check anymore every time I get paid. So I went, the next day I went to work, they paid me, I told him I lost the money. And he said he's gonna kill me, he's gonna do this, he's gonna use some kind of witchcraft to voodoo stuff. I just look at him like, you don't know this person. I'm not scared of this stuff. I don't usually get scared of things like that.
Yeah.
So he said a lot of things to just confuse me, but I'm like, I don't have the money.
Now, was your aunt living there, or was she back and forth to Togo?
She was back and forth into Togo, but she was living in a different house at that time.
Okay.
And then they call her. She's like, I'm gonna find a way to make you talk and just all kinds of crazy stuff. And I just say, I don't have the money. And so they moved me from that job. But the secret thing I did is I left the money with my boss that I was working with at that time to send it to my mom. But then I thought that if she keeps the money, send it to my mom, I was gonna gather enough courage to go through everything in the house and get my documents and run away. But unfortunately, I told a wrong girl. She went and told them. So they hid my passport. They hid everything. I couldn't leave the house.
Yeah.
So then I called my mom again, but she didn't pick up. But I wanted her to know that I was going to run away. So just to get ready when those things come, when they call her like a family meeting and start saying stuff, she just needed to know.
Yeah.
But I couldn't. So then they decided to trick me. They came and say, okay, your dad is really sick. And they know I love my dad. And then I was 15 at that time, almost 15 actually. And they said, let's go to Togo and then come back. My aunt said she was leaving and she was going to be back in a month. And then I went there. It's like, I've never seen so much hatred in my life. She turned everybody against me. Like, they were calling me names and things that I would not even imagine like a 15, 13-year-old would know.
And saying bad things about
bad
you.
things. Just things that you shouldn't say about a girl, specifically in those kind of countries.
Yeah.
And she said a lot of stuff where a couple months later, my dad died. She actually paid them to bury my dad before they even called us, his children. And it's an insult to us from my culture, where we came from.
To miss the funeral.
To miss the funeral of your parents.
Yeah.
And it's basically a curse.
Yeah.
You have to do something really bad. Something bad had to be happening in your life to miss a funeral of your own parent.
We have more questions to answer in your story, so I want to go back across. So then you were back in the U.S., and then through good fortune, the Immigration Service rescued you.
Yes.
How did that happen?
I woke up one morning pretending to be a wife of this same guy that I came with the fake visa in the first place. He basically came to rescue me when I was in Togo. So by that time, I already had 2 kids for him. And I was somewhere in Iowa.
You had 2 kids from this fake husband?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I was 17 at that time, and they would knock on my door at 5 in the morning, and the other people were already arrested. They were rescued, and they came and found me too in Iowa and brought me to Michigan.
Oh. And then you were resettled by Bethany Christian Services.
Bethany Christian Services, yes.
Yeah. But that finding foster care for
wasn't easy.
a teenager, especially a teenager with 2 small kids,
Yes.
wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy.
They originally placed you in a small rural town
Called Conklin, Michigan.
with some well-intended but maybe not understanding of cultural differences.
Yes. They did their best. They tried to do their best, but I think maybe they didn't have enough training, or they were just not ready for the cultural shock when I came in there.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But you eventually made it into Grand Rapids.
Yes.
And your life is turning around wonderfully because now you have a business.
Yes, I do.
So Progressive African Hair Braiding.
Yes. In Wyoming, Michigan.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about the shop.
Well, it's a hair salon. It's a small one, but it's mine. And I work there when I go to school. and take care of the kids. Basically, that's what I do.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure. And what are you studying?
I'm studying leadership and ministry.
Fantastic.
How did I end up there? I don't know, but it's the will of God. I'm here. So yes.
And the really great thing now is, I mean, you've got work, you've got a business. Your kids have a mom with income. They're growing big and flourishing in the community.
Yes.
And you are doing some mentoring in the community. Talk about that.
I actually mentor. I work for this nonprofit called Three Taps Collectives. It's in Grand Rapids, Michigan. They actually help refugees settle in the U.S. So they will help some women. Maybe if you have a talent and you can use that instead of working in just a crazy job or something, they will help you with that. And the girls, they also have workshops for the girls just to help them to learn the important things that you need to learn about the country, how to grow in this country, how to get a job, how to take care of yourself, things you just need to know that is not taught maybe in school or in the house. So we teach those stuff.
Fantastic.
Yes.
So are these young girls from all over the world, mostly from Africa?
Most of them are from Africa, different African countries. Yes. Yes.
So that has to be, when they're in a new place and so many things are confusing, it must be really powerful and welcoming and affirming to have somebody like you
Yes.
in their lives to support them and encourage them.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I see them, I remember me. I'm like, I wish someone would have this kind of program for me when I was growing up, or having a direct African person that I can pour into me so I can see that, okay, they actually made it. Because many Africans have made it through the community, but not enough Africans are pouring into the next African generation. So I hope that I am that role model or that example that other Africans can see so that they can pour into the next African generation.
Sure.
So yeah,
Sure.
That's why I do it.
Fantastic.
Yes.
We're going to have to wrap up in a moment, but if there's one thing you could say to our viewers to help them understand something, what would you say?
I would say keep your mind and your eyes open. Get to know people on a deeper level before you just assume anything. Because cultural intelligence is a wealth. It's a wealth, yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
I want to thank you so much for coming by and sharing your story.
Yeah.
It has not been easy, but clearly from your story, you are a very strong-willed person, and
Too much.
we know you will succeed in lots of great ways.
Amen.
And so look forward to seeing your boys grow up in this community and the next chapter. So definitely stay in touch with us here at the show.
Okay, yes. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us. If you're watching us on TV, stay tuned for our following segments on language and culture. If you're watching Feel Like You Belong on the internet, we hope you will share your feedback with us via our website and YouTube channel. And be sure to catch our many other stories about the brave newcomers who contribute their tenacity to make these United States a more remarkable place.